Yo, 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 what is up, guys? We are back with another live stream here on the channel. Hope everybody is doing fantastic as always, and it is a pleasure to be your host here today, discussing the markets and to see what has and what is going on, guys. Can everybody hear me loud and clear? Let me know how the audio is doing. And let me know where you are tuning in from today, guys. Don't forget to leave a like on the stream. We are back with another live stream here on the Trading Academy YouTube channel. Fantastic to be back and being able to share my perspective on the markets. And yes, Sandro, GBPUSD is tanking in towards the downside as we love it. You guys know GBPUSD still my favorite pair to tank and drop in towards the downside. Hope some of you are full porting those GU shorts. Again, not going to lie, I had in the market outlook this morning dropped or drawn in this overall little high here, which was the news high of Wednesday last week. Sadly, it didn't come up into that high. Otherwise, I would have shorted the living hell out of it. But still, I know a lot of you are in that GBPUSD short position. So fantastic and very, very happy to see. Remember who has been calling those GU shorts for ages, guys. For ages, we can still see that we have been following the overall impulsive phases in towards the downside. Remember, here we have the impulsive phase. Here we have the impulsive phase. Here we had another impulsive phase. And once again, what are we currently in, guys? We are in another impulsive phase. And again, where did that impulsive phase originate from? From the monthly and from that free monthly open. And as you guys know, how I love calling it, it was a big fat smooch of that monthly and free monthly level open. And we sawed off like a rock in towards the bottom of the ocean. And the ocean bottom is nowhere to be seen. It is still so much lower. So let's see if we can get GBPUSD to sell off in towards the ground. I've been calling a GBPUSD or a GBP, let's say a pound, that has been bearish for quite some time. So I'm sorry, guys, if you are in the UK, but the pound is going to zero. It's going to be worthless. So you better exchange all of your pounds for dollars if you still want to be. Now I'm joking, guys. I'm not gonna. That's not gonna happen. But theoretically speaking. Very nice to see Swiss been selling off. GU has been selling off. GBPAUD, guys. GBPAUD has been selling off like an absolute rocket ship as well. Obviously, with that overall risk on sentiment, we've been seeing an appreciation of the Australian dollar and of the New Zealand dollar. And then when you compare that to a very, very weak pair, such as the pound, you can then see that GA is selling in towards the absolute ground. And again, a beautiful, beautiful fake area of demand. And now the yearly open has been hit. Guys, so who knows? This could be kind of like a bounce area for GBPAUD to push up a little bit higher again. The yearly open, it doesn't matter what pair it is very, very often a location where a pair can bounce from. There is an example of a different pair. If I'm not mistaken, it's CAD yen, which again, also here, interacting between the open levels. Again, you can clearly see the yearly open here, the yearly open here, and the free monthly / monthly open over here. It's just bouncing in between those. Obviously, at some point in time, it is likely that it's going to break out, but nice to see that overall price action. So overall, guys, GBPUSD still looking obviously for a further sell-off. This should continue in towards the downside. It's still within its overall impulsive phase. And then obviously once we get to the black dotted line, what line is that? That is the line of the, let's say, break of structure. That is when the overall impulsive phase makes room for what? For the, let's say, nervous phase, for the phase where you want to be careful, because that is where the amber zone starts and where potential pullbacks can start to occur. Because when we look at an overall trend, guys, we have an impulse down, we have the pullback, we have the impulse down, we have the pullback, we have the impulse down. Now, when does the overall pullback phase start? It starts after the break of structure, right? After the break of structure. And you never know how deep price can still sink. So after that break of structure line on GBPUSD, it is possible that there is going to be a pullback. So watch out with holding onto those shorts very aggressively after the break of structure line, but this should be your first TP. So yeah, that's GU. Congratulations if you are in those short positions. Then when it comes to EURUSD just broke the overall 4-hour fractal low after taking out liquidity here. So for myself, EURUSD is lagging quite behind the pound at the moment, whilst the pairs are relatively similar in the way they move, right? Because here we had an impulse down, here we had an impulse down, then again, here we had the impulsive phase down, And now once again, we are well within our impulsive phase in towards the downside. Now I've made these impulsive phases a little bit orange. So what I'm still looking for is for EURUSD to continue selling off in towards the downside, and I will continue to look for those short positions as long as, and the chart is slightly messy, let me just clean it up for you guys, as long as the daily supply zone here keeps on holding. So for now, daily supply is still in control. This here is the high, this here is the low. We've seen a retracement into premium pricing or in towards the 618, whatever you want to call it. And from there, we could still potentially see those further downside pushes. Now, I'm not going to say that we are going to, let's say, sell off from this very moment in towards the downside, although there is a high probability as we've grabbed internal liquidity here. But there's still one other liquidity high, which I would rather be selling from, and that is this high here. But this first high over here has now caused a 4-hour change of character. So if we see a strong 4-hour candle close, yes, you can look to further short EURUSD in towards the downside. Though I would be taking this setup with a little bit of a wider stop loss, just to give it a little bit of breathing room, as there is still potential for it to come in towards this high over here. Or I would look at, for example, lower time frame setups. So look at the 1-hour time frame, see, hey, do we get any potential positions that we can use or can we get any lower time frame confirmation? So what would be nice, for example, is like a little push up, then a stronger push down, then here you engineer internal liquidity, and then on the 1-hour time frame we get in on the 1-hour change of character after grabbing that internal liquidity, right? We use that as the liquidation to then fuel that next leg down. So those are kind of two setups. If you want to take it with the wider stop loss, then just wait for the 4-hour candle close and get in. Or if you want to use it with a tighter stop loss, then let's wait for that internal liquidity and for this kind of like to start playing out. That would be nice. So that's what I have for EURUSD. Still looking for that further downside together with those GBPUSD short positions. Now, GU is dumping like a madman. Dollar index, guys, still has a lot of liquidity and a lot of room to push up in towards the highs. I called this morning that we have a lot of descending highs here. That is liquidity. So I would favor another kind of like more bullish impulse in towards the highs, back up towards these equal highs here before then maybe seeing it just consolidate. The dollar index is quite consolidative at the moment. But if we zoom out a little bit, then you can clearly see here that we, and let me just go to the 4-hour time frame, have been bullish, right? So we get the impulse up, pull back down, impulse up, pull back down, impulse up, pull back down, and now we're just in the impulsive phase again. So what I'm waiting for again is a strong 4-hour candle close, because if we look at the overall fractal indicator, and let me just turn it on here, we can see that we've now made a 4-hour fractal structure shift. So what I now want to see here is this demand zone indeed continue to push us further in towards the upside, well above these overall highs. And once we start breaking out of this little area of consolidation, because let's be honest, we have some consolidation here, then the real impulsive phase on the dollar index should start to commence. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. Now, the yen basket, guys, what has been happening to the yen? So the yen in itself pushed up higher this morning, back up into where? Into daily supply. So I see a lot of people looking at yen long positions. I would stay very, very careful, because if I have one rule for the yen that has been since around April of this year, it is not to be too optimistic and look for too many longs. Because if we look here at the overall market structure that we've been seeing, we can clearly see here that we have an area of supply that is in control. And then once again, now what do we have? We have an area of supply which is most likely going to be in control. So I would not be surprised if we just see another sell-off in towards the downside from here, right? Personally, very dangerous to look for yen longs based on the technicals. And also, if you look at the lower time frame, being the 4-hour, guys, what can we then see if I just remove all the indicators and again keep the chart nice and empty? Where has price moved in towards? Taking out these descending highs. On the 1-hour time frame, maybe it's a little bit more clear, but again, what you can see happening here is that we're just coming up towards this little internal bump in the road, right? So here, for example, we have one, and let's say here we have one. We've taken out this one, which is the first one of all of these descending highs, taken it out, and it's now reacting. So if we now break this low, then just expect the yen to sell off again. If this demand zone does push it up higher, it could head up higher. Only really look for those yen sells if this low here breaks, and then we could really look for kind of like the next drop off on the yen basket. Okay, so now let's have a look at the other pairs. So NZD USD looking for further downside on this, looking to grab the liquidity above all of these ascending lows here. So I still see there a lot of room to be on NZD USD for further downside. It's just moving very choppy, but I've been saying that every single market outlook already. If you're not watching the market outlooks yet, guys, make sure to do so on the Trading Academy Market Updates channel here on YouTube. You can check out the daily market update there. I've been calling for an NZD USD drop for quite some time, but the NZD has been relatively strong due to the overall risk on sentiment from that trade deal. And in addition to that, we can just see that market is kind of like stalling, right? It's consolidating. It's not really moving anywhere. So we need to see a big fat red candle, and then we can see some momentum come back. So that's what I'm kind of like waiting for there on NU. When it comes to AUDUSD, AUDUSD is a little bit more bullish. The Australian dollar is very, very bullish at the moment. So I would be very, very cautious with trading AU. If you're then looking to short NU or AU, then I would say, hey, let's go with an NZD USD as opposed to an AUDUSD. Now, let's dive into your pairs, guys. So, first of all, we have a GJ. A GJ has been selling off in towards the downside after grabbing pretty much all of the internal liquidity above this high here. So, what happened is that when we grabbed this internal high here, we got a bearish change of character. And the bearish change of character occurred right over here. Right, so we see it boom, 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 and then the change of character happened here. Now, the reason for this recent sell-off on GJ comes mainly from, first of all, the pound weakness. So the pound has been extremely weak. And in addition to that, there are talks, or let me put it this way, Trump, if I'm not mistaken, is currently in Japan, or at least there is some talks of $500 billion investment from Japan into the United States. And that has caused the yen in some way to appreciate and GJ to drop down. Now, if you're looking at GJ at the moment, I would be very cautious because it's kind of coming back down in towards some equal lows here. So I wouldn't be looking to stay too long in those short positions if you are in them now. I would more be looking at kind of like a potential pullback play here, back up higher. But I could be wrong. But for now, the overall move on GJ has already happened. Congratulations on the GUTP. Has it hit the lows? Yes, it has hit the lows. Fantastic, guys. Congratulations to you. Hope some of my bearishness on GU has been able to help, guys. Glad to hear that some of you have been hitting TPs there. Anybody who took those GU shorts or has been in GU shorts, guys, let me know here in the chat. For the rest, EURUSD and USDCHF. So EURUSD has been consolidating. It's relatively stuck at the moment. Not a pair that I'm really a fan of. It's been stalling since around a week now. So wait for this to break out. It's for me a little bit unclear. I'm bearish on the euro, but on the New Zealand dollar, I'm also not too bullish. I'm more bullish on the AUD. So I wouldn't be really looking to trade Euro NZD at the moment. All I can really see here is that we are still bullish, right? And what's happened is that we've grabbed some internal liquidity here. So you're kind of favoring an upside move again, but that upside move should only come once this high over here breaks on the daily, and then you'll have the daily fractal confirmation. Otherwise, there is still potential for it to head down lower. So if you're looking for shorts, then yes, you're still kind of like bearish, right? And we're still following the overall bearish order flow. Supply here is still in control. So longs do not yet make sense, only until we kind of like see a strong break back up on the daily time frame. Let's see what else, guys. What else? Yes, GU all the way down. Please help analyze EuroCAD. Yeah, so EuroCAD has been pushing up since yesterday. Now it's pushing back down a bit. So EuroCAD in itself is obviously extremely bullish, right? So we don't really need to be looking for short positions. You're mainly focusing on the longs. Then here, what's happened is that we've retraced into a daily area of demand. Right, so this here is your daily area of demand, and within that daily demand zone that broke market structure in towards the upside, we can look for potential for the long positions, right? So then what you do is you go to the 4-hour time frame, and on the 4-hour time frame, what you see there is that we had internal liquidity. So for example here, and here we had internal liquidity. Here, for example, we had internal liquidity, and here we had internal liquidity, and even here we had internal liquidity. Now the thing is, you need to understand, okay, yes, you might have internal liquidity here and you see a few bullish candles and you might be looking for longs, but the longs only actually really start to play out once we get the bullish confirmation within the overall low itself. Now, the only real confirmation came over here once we started seeing a 4-hour fractal structure shift in towards the upside, and from there were some initial longs to be taken. So it's looking good. Now, to be honest, price is stalling a bit, but I do expect it to make another drive up higher to at least take out this high here. However, keep an eye open because I was looking at the Euro basket. Not sure if you guys have been checking this out, But if you look at the euro basket, look at where it's currently trading from an opens perspective, and then just go to the higher time frame real quick. It's currently trading at the monthly / 3 monthly open. So that could cause kind of like some resistance on the euro, and it's maybe also the reason why Euro USD has some potential to sell off from these levels, right? So keep an eye open for that. That could end up being kind of like a strong barrier of resistance for any further euro upside. So keep an eye on that. I know a lot of you are also looking at USDCHF, myself included. USDCHF is so consolidative though, kind of a little bit stuck here. It's rejecting still the monthly / 3 monthly open. I really like it from a technical perspective, guys. It makes a lot of sense to sell off. Just the only thing is obviously the dollar index, which is relatively bullish at the moment. But I like what I'm seeing here with supply and control. Again here, pretty much supply and control. We got the monthly / 3 monthly open. So there is still potential for this to drop off lower. Though it's not the only position that I would be taking. But yeah, from a let's say technical perspective, it definitely makes sense to sell off. Looking at this from a daily time frame, obviously here we've had the overall impulse in towards the downside, retracement, and now you're obviously looking for the next kind of like impulse in towards the downside. Look at this from a 4-hour perspective, and you've had an internal trend up, and we shifted the internal trend down. Breaker structure here, swing high, swing low. Market comes to where? So here we have liquidity. Here we have liquidity, and here we have liquidity. The market takes out that liquidity, and then it made a very nice, how many pip drop? Like 55 pip drop. And now there's somewhat of an internal trend down lower. Looking at the 1-hour time frame here as well, it also looks good to sell off in my opinion. Here we have a breaker structure down. Here we have another breaker structure down. So as long as this high here is respected, it should sell off. It's grabbed internal liquidity here, rejected the monthly / 3 monthly open. So for me, this is more a sell than a buy. Definitely, guys. Definitely. So I like those USD Swiss sells, guys. Yes, on Forex fundamentals as well, it is minus 44. So it makes sense to look for sells. If you're then in sells, like a sell like this, obviously then indeed, made sense with maybe your stop loss then above the strong high, targeting again, a new lower low. That setup definitely makes sense from my perspective as well. Obviously, no guarantees, no financial advice, but the setup itself makes sense. CAD Swiss, it's been moving slightly consolidative. But I like this definitely from a higher time frame perspective as well. Looking at this here, makes sense relatively to look for sells. I like when I look at the 4-hour time frame what I see. Obviously, we are very, very bearish. We've, again, taken it out the bump in the road. So, guys, again, what you want to be doing when looking at an overall impulse in towards a certain direction, within that impulse, we need to identify the liquidity. This USDCHF short is counter for your USD short. Yeah, correct. So, USDCHF shorts could be a good hedge against any Euro USD shorts, guys, that we then have running, yeah? Looking at CAD Swiss, within the overall impulse down, we identify this as liquidity, and I would just say, simply said, pretty much this here as liquidity. So overall, it should sell off from this high, and I would just place my stop loss here. Maybe the only other setup that you could look for is from, let's say, this high over here, and look for this to drop off. It could still retrace up into the 3 monthly / monthly open, but it still makes sense to further drop in line with what is the overall, obviously, trend in towards the downside. Clear trend in towards the downside, guys, for CAD Swiss. Nothing seems to really be stopping that. Bro, have you ever used pivot points? No. Guys, no need to spam in the chat, please. Thank you. Don't forget to leave a like on the stream, guys, by the way. Going into gold. So gold has been selling off further and further and further. So gold has come into very interesting lows, guys. What we can see here on gold is that we've come into the lows here on the daily, the equal lows. So here we had some equal lows, and on the 4-hour time frame, it will become a little bit more clear, where again, you have very, very, very clear liquidity. That's now been taken. For myself, guys, gold is very, very, very strong and impulsive. It's dangerous to buy at the moment. I'm still only interested in kind of following the immediate trend down lower towards the monthly and the quarterly open. So I would be more looking just for very simple further skill ins in towards downside, as opposed to any potential long opportunities at the moment. So let's say, hey, on the 50-minute time frame here, we have liquidity, right? Hasn't yet been taken, or has it been taken? Let me quickly check. No, not yet, or somehow it's yet. Oh yeah, so it's been taken now. I see. So who knows? If we take out this low again, it could just continue its overall trend further in towards the monthly and free monthly open. But my target would be the monthly and the free monthly open for now. And I wouldn't be looking for any longs. I would only be looking for further short positions. And then you need to just check out the liquidity. So once these kind of like little bumps in the road get taken out, then you can look for a further short position once you get the bearish confirmation. So I don't know which high it's going to react to, but these are all little liquidity highs. And once the liquidity gets taken, see the change of character, then you can look for a sell again. As simple as pretty much that. Let's have a look. Gold will go up. Yeah, could be. But I would like to see just go a little bit lower. And for myself, the only kind of like long position I would be looking for on gold again is once at least we see pretty much the daily fractal structure shift again, and the overall trend want to continue. So we would need to break this, and then I would look for longs again on the overall kind of like internal liquidation / retracement. That's what I would personally be looking for. By the way, guys, I'm working on something at the moment. I'm working on the possibility of me sharing my swing positions with a small group of you if you would be interested in that. A private group, and it will be for us, yeah, let's say around 50 people, maybe 100 people, something like that. Don't want to make it too big because obviously we have a lot of people who just like to spam and waste each other's time, but a small group where I'll be showing my positions with. I'll be announcing more on that inside Discord probably towards the end of the week, maybe next week beginning on Monday. If you want any updates on that, make sure to join the Discord. Just share the link here in the chat. Because that's where I'm going to be dropping an announcement. So if you want to be the first one to hear about that, make sure to join the Discord, as that's where the update is going to be shared. Then, but hope you guys are looking forward to more information on that. Fabio, what's your opinion on the dollar index, EU, GU price action in the coming days, given that the US dollar and the euro rates release? Will the pairs be dry tomorrow and the day after? No, I will never stop making market updates. Don't worry about that. Yeah, so when it comes to the price action on EURUSD, obviously it's very, very difficult at the moment. It's also why I mentioned, hey, let's wait maybe for kind of like a 4-hour candle close here on the 4-hour fractal low, because we could just kind of like use this as liquidity, right, to kind of like fuel the next leg up. It's very, very, very dangerous to start selling on the low break of these bearish candles because they often act as kind of like liquidations. So really wait for a strong candle close and then we can get into potential positions. But until now, still a little bit unclear. We also have one high open here, which I'm preferably going to wait for. So let's see how this 4-hour candle closes. It's in 3 hours. So we still have quite a lot of time. And then maybe tomorrow we could take a position. But I'm not too stressed about tomorrow's news that we will have. Yeah. So let's see. So rate cut tomorrow, EURUSD up. Yeah, Ellie possible, definitely. There's still liquidity to be grabbed. Yeah, let's see what the dollar does. We need a strong 4-hour candle close on the dollar in the next hour, and then maybe still we could see some short-term bullishness to take out some of those descending highs. Let's see. It will all depend on what we see from the overall next 4-hour candle close. Does it have potential? AUDCHF shorts, yeah, got some questions about this. Not really preferable yet. We've never really seen a 4-hour fractal break on AUDCHF, even here, just with a wick, and then it facilitated the next leg up. For now, demand zones have been in control, so keep an eye on that. I see here demand in control. I see here again demand in control. So yeah, what I would prefer is, and even after taking out this internal liquidity here, you see that facilitates just a pullback, right? It facilitates a pullback in towards demand, and from there we're just pushing up higher again. For myself, the ideal short position will come from this line over here with a stop loss kind of like above these highs, and then we align that with the monthly / free monthly open, and then we have a nice short on our hands back in towards downside. This is the short I'm kind of like waiting for on AUDCHF, guys. That's what I'm looking for. Any positions open? No, not at the moment. I'm waiting for the EURUSD candle close, and then I'll be looking to get in. GU obviously already played. AU come pumping. NU slow still, waiting for the 4-hour candle close. So yeah, I'm waiting for a strong candle close here on NU, and then I'll probably get into a short position here on that supply zone. So this is what I'm waiting for. If it happens, that is what I'll be looking for. GU has hit the low, so that setup has already played out, but not really any ideal entries there. EURUSD, preferably we would take out this high over here and then get some bearish confirmation, or if we see the 4-hour candle close turn out to be strong bearish, then we could look for further short positions, but it's still slightly unclear still as well with the heavy news week that we have. Euro GBP is flying to the absolute moon. Let me quickly check. USDCHF is kind of like the only short that I like, if I'm very honest. 50 minutes time frame. Let me quickly check. Yeah, 50-minute fractal is just unclear, man. Where's the 50-minute fractal? 50-minute fractal is down here, no? Yeah. So 50-minute fractal is down here. That's the only thing. So I would then, if you want to be in this, take it with a wider stop loss like I explained here. Then, to me, this is like the only kind of like relatively nice position that there is, a USDCHF short like this one. This is the only position that I, at the moment, like, guys. You trade the minor pairs? No, I personally don't, but Rucker does, and the rest of the team does as well inside Discord. If I'm not mistaken, some of them are EuroCAD, but I think they put it to break even already. So yeah, I mean, USDCHF is a nice one. For the rest, relatively simple. GJ has the potential to retrace up higher again. Let me quickly check. AUDCHF has potential to push up higher tonight, as if I'm not mistaken, there's interest rate decisions in Canada this evening or in a few hours. So let's keep an eye on that as well. And yeah. I mean, I'm interested in those CAD Swiss. I'm interested in an N Swiss short. I'm interested in an A Swiss short, but just maybe a little bit higher, or some more momentum or more information on the trade deal needs to be given before we have real clarity on where those pairs really want to start heading next. What positions are you guys looking for? Maybe you can share a chart with me. Like, the only real clean position I personally see is a USDCHF short, guys. Like I explained already in this session. What pairs are you guys looking at? Can you share maybe the trading view link with me inside Discord, guys? Can you re-highlight where you expect the DXY to retrace to make its impulsive move to mate before you think it may become bearish again? I know you mentioned DXY being bullish through October and November. Yeah, so when it comes to the dollar, to be very honest, like we just follow what the overall momentum does, and the momentum at the moment is in towards the upside. I mean, it still has room, and all we're doing is simply following liquidity highs, right? So one of these three highs, pretty much. But to be honest, it can go as high as this high over here before kind of like making a real sizable retracement that you would also then, for example, see for a few weeks. But looking at it from a weekly perspective, it's relatively consolidative, right? Same goes for the monthly. But what I would love to see is kind of like a strong monthly fractal break on the dollar index, and then throughout the rest of next year, we can start looking for some longs again, further in towards the highs. But this can obviously take some time. When will you do another fundamental live? Yeah, guys, if you're interested in that, I can make a presentation for Thursday, and we can do a fundamental presentation. But make sure to share your charts with me inside Discord. I'm in the general chat now, so I'm going to open up some charts. I'm going to open up some charts, or you can share them in trading, and just make sure to tag me, because then I'll share them here on the stream, and we can check them out together, guys. Let's check it out. Fabio just came around. Have you talked about EU shorts? Yeah, we talked about EU shorts. Have potential. UJ shorts, not a big fan of. Don't really see it happening. Then if you are in for dollar shorts, then look at USDCHF. USDCHF is a lot more bearish than UJ. And a lot more clear as well. But yeah, this is the only short I'm seeing at the moment, guys. So I like this one, USDCHF. So keep an eye on it. Has the potential to really sell off. Will your USD go down? Nobody knows, my friend. Only Powell knows. When is the group chat starting? Maybe next week, Monday, MPLO. But you need to be active inside Discord, and then I'll show you. Where can I find your Discord? The link is pinned here in the chat. Let me see if we have some charts to share, guys. So let me see. Yes, so I have the first one. So we have an NZD JPY. We have Parker with EURUSD. We have Dan. I'm just opening the easiest one, guys. The easiest ones, which are very clear. So just give me 1 second as I open them up on my chart for you. So let's see. So what we have here, okay, so let's start with NZD-JPY, guys. So we have an NZD-JPY sell position here. Let's see, what are you looking for? Maybe you guys can in the chat also kind of like explain then what you're looking for in position-wise. Fabio, how can I set my opens position to show previous opens? You need to double click on it and then increase the previous numbers. So increase the numbers to like from 1, because I think standard is 1, and then increase it to like 4 or 5. Then that's how many previous opens you can see. How are you safe from inducement and not to confirm it's part of structure? Because you always need to trade pro trend, Victor. So we have someone here looking at an NZD-JPY short position. So that would mean that you're then looking at this here. So NZD-JPY shorts, let's have a look. So yeah, I mean, we're indeed at the yearly open, so that's always nice to see. For the rest, it's a very consolidative pair. So it doesn't really have a lot of, or doesn't really make a lot of sense to overanalyze the overall market structure. Yearly open indeed there. 4-hour fractal break has been made in towards the downside. We have the internal liquidity here as well. Let's quickly just turn off these indicators. So yeah, internal liquidity gets grabbed, and it's now given us a 4-hour fractal break in towards the downside. This supply zone indeed here, together with the open of the yearly, can indeed push the market down lower. Though I must say you need to keep an eye on what is going to be said during those trade talks, as that can heavily influence the yen weakness or strength. We have a EURUSD short. Obviously discussed this one already. Very nice chart. Looks like my chart 101. This one is gone. So CFD on German 40. Yeah. So German 40 has been a position. I think Julian has talked about this inside Discord as well. Overall, it's been moving relatively consolidative for quite some time. Though I must say I am relatively bullish on indices / stocks, whatever you want to call it. Looking at this from kind of like a daily time frame. Yeah, I mean, a lot of consolidation in the markets, guys, as well. The only kind of like clean move we've seen has been from GU, right? Like this area of consolidation, this is a clear example of kind of like a drop, a basing structure, and then a rally, and then a retest, and then we're looking for continuation. So, I mean, from a demand perspective, it makes sense. We have grabbed the internal low here. From a daily time frame perspective, we've seen a bullish daily fractal structure shift. So that makes sense for longs. Looking at it from a 4-hour time frame, we have seen the internal trend shift bullish as well. Yeah, it makes sense to look for longs on this. Not the cleanest of price action. Again, very consolidative at the moment, but it does make sense to continue pushing up higher. Yeah, internally swept this, internally swept this, internally it swept this. So yeah, I mean, makes sense to head up higher. Just very consolidative. Manny, what's up, man? Hope you're doing good. Looking at, what is it? And the other chart doesn't work as well. Okay. No, so clean setups across the board, guys. I think the cleanest one for myself is USDCHF. Is that USDCHF short, man? It's for me the cleanest setup. This one here. This is pretty much the only setup that I really believe in, I would say. There's a guy who does the same market analysis like this, trading academy. That was a small guy. Can anybody name him? And has been attended the podcast with Rutger. I forgot his name. Channel. Not sure what you mean, but I think his name is Fabio. GBPUSD has made its move, guys. GU has made its move. It's taken the liquidity low to the exact pip, and now you want to be out. So yeah, the move has happened. That's all I can say on GU. Now there's nothing really too interesting about it, because after taking this overall kind of like low, it can just reverse all the way back up, or now we need to see the follow through. But it will depend on what the dollar index does. we need a stronger 4-hour candle close in 50 minutes on the dollar. Because for now, it just looks again kind of like more internal liquidity grabbing. So we want to see a strong candle close. We want to see follow through. It's not looking very good for now. Because EU as well, if you look at this, it could just kind of like be the internal sweep and then fuel the next leg up towards this higher liquidity high. From there, the real higher probability shorts will start, because then all the liquidity in this move down has then been taken, for me at least. So yeah, until then, USDCHF remains a good potential short position to hold. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at, guys. That's what I'm looking at. NU I like if we see strong bearish candle close. And then, yeah, I mean, gold obviously bearish. Needs to give a 50-minute fractal break on one of those liquidity highs. Will you be joining the Titans of Tomorrow podcast one day? Michael, yeah, if they invite me, would be good. Fantastic, Joseph. Glad to hear. Check my USD Swiss charts on Discord Fab. Let me check. Let me just get the right one. I'm not sure what's your Discord name. I have many looking for UJ longs. Let's have a look at that. So yeah, UJ longs. I mean, UJ longs makes sense as well. We have quite a few liquidity lows. On the 4-hour time frame, we have this one, and this one. So pretty much when one of those lows gets taken, you want to look for a long. Now, ideally, we then see 1-hour confirmation as well. For UJ, the only 1-hour confirmation can come once this high here gets taken. So until this high is respected, it only makes sense to head down lower. If we can break that high, then yeah, I agree. We could look for a long position on there. I see another USDCHF position here. Yeah, this is pretty much the USDCHF position I referred to as well. I think this is the 2-hour time frame. Yeah, 2-hour time frame. Yeah, nice. Yeah, I would be looking at this from a 1-hour or from a 4-hour perspective. So keep an eye on what's happening here. 50-minute time frame. Took out that liquidity high. Yeah, I like it from a 4-hour perspective, man. It makes sense. Makes sense. Really makes sense, man. Monthly, free monthly. I have the ribbons indicator of Oliver. Not sure if he's here in the stream. That small guy was Oscar. Ah, nah. Yeah, that's Oscar. Bro, can you teach us scalping? Yeah, I'm releasing a 50-minute scalping strategy video on YouTube, guys, here on the channel this week. So expect that video to be dropping soon. Hasn't UJ made a 4-hour bearish chalk, which makes sense for it to continue pushing down? Yeah, but guys, look. So there's a difference, right? Because look at UJ or look at USwiss. USwiss should push down. UJ, on the other hand, guys, is what? It's bullish. So we have the impulsive phase, and here we're still in the impulsive phase. So why would I sell USDCHF when why should I sell USJPY when USDCHF had its impulsive phase down and broke market structure, right? USDCHF is bearish, whereas USDJPY is actually bullish. So it doesn't make sense to sell USDJPY where you can then also sell USDCHF. And when the counter pair is literally the same, both a safe haven, because the yen is a safe haven, just like the Swiss is. So USDCHF and USD yen move in some way similar on the lower time frame. So I would preferably be in USDCHF. Also because the fundamentals behind the Swiss franc are a lot better than behind the yen. So yeah, no guys, this is the only position that I like. USDCHF to head down lower, and it's the only position I would be focusing on at the moment. So yeah, that's pretty much it. As you can see, most pairs are consolidating. We need to wait for the news to drop, which will be dropping on those pairs. And let's wait for those pairs to be updated. I'll join inside Discord for a small stream as well. Hope to speak to some of you there as well. And yeah, guys, big announcement then on Monday. So if you want to follow my trades, make sure to be inside Discord, as I'll be dropping an announcement on Monday on how you can start following them. And I think that will save a lot of questions as well from you guys on yeah, what positions that I'm in, and yeah, make life for everyone easier. So guys, thanks a lot for joining in as always. Yeah, nice 45 minutes. I like to keep them around 45 minutes. I don't want to waste your time as well. Keeping it nice and simple. I'm not going to kind of like fake like I'm looking at any other positions besides USDCHF. I think USDCHF is the only kind of like clean position that I can really see. For the rest, everything is consolidating and waiting for interest rate decisions. So yeah, this is like the only like nice short that I see, and I hope some of you are going to be able to capitalize on it if it does push in towards the downside. So guys, thanks a lot for joining. Wish you all a fantastic and amazing day, and we'll speak very, very, very soon inside Discord. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, guys.